Hi guys, so this is a good warm-up routine that you can do before you start your handstand classes. So you always want to warm up your wrists, and it highly depends on the person how much you need to warm up your wrists. It depends on factors like how flexible you are or how strong your wrists are. So I encourage you to find the right amount for you and listen to your body. So you start out by just putting weight on your hands in different positions and just feel into your wrists and see if a specific area needs a little more stretching. So you kind of just want to get the wrists used to having pressure on them in different positions. You can also go opposite on the back of your hands. And do this for as long as you feel you need it. Then another one that I like to do a lot is, I'm going to show you from the side, is a stretch. This really helps to have flexible wrists, but at the same time strong. You want to make sure that you push your fingers into the ground, and so that you're not passively just going into your end range of motion, but actively pressing your hands into the ground so that they always stay protected by your muscles. So always listen to your body, don't overdo the wrists. Because I'm going to tell you just very shortly, when I started handstands, I was doing a lot of wrist warm-up, and I was actually overdoing it to the point where my wrists were damaging from the warm-up rather than from the handstands. And right now, we're mainly going to do wall drills, so exercises at the wall, which means that your wrists are not going to be at the high risk they are at when you're balancing freestanding, because when you're balancing freestanding, they have to be really strong to counteract any shifts in weight. But when you're at the wall, you don't have that many shifts in weight. It's very controlled. So with the wall exercises, your wrists will actually get a lot stronger. So just be patient and don't overdo anything with the wrists when it comes to the warm-up. All right, so moving on. A good exercise for strengthening the wrists is wrist push-ups. And the way they look is you pull down your shoulders, you externally rotate your arms, and so from the side it looks like this. You push up your upper body with the strength of the muscles around your wrists. And then you just try to control this range of motion going up and down. And you should feel the muscles around here working. From the front it looks like this. Make sure your elbows are out and you push yourself up. If this is very hard, you can back up the weight on your legs, so you have less weight on your hands. If you want to increase the weight on your hands, you just simply go further to the front. So those are the wrist push-ups, and we do them in both ways. So you also, when you're done with the front ones, you go onto the back of your hands and you push up. And the same thing applies to the weight. If this is too much weight, you're just going to put more into your legs. If you feel strong, go more, that's too much for me. You go over your hands. And the whole purpose of this is simply to get your wrists ready for handstands. All right, shoulders. So when you're in a handstand, you want to have your shoulders in an open position so that you can have a nice handstand line, right? Because an efficient handstand means that you have your bones stacked on top of each other. And so for most of us, this is our end position. We can't really go any further. And when you're at your end position, you usually can't exert the amount of strength that you can, for example, in this position. I'm way stronger here than I am here. And so it makes sense to just create a bigger range for yourself so that you can exert more strength in this open position. And so a good shoulder opener that we also did in the class today is you go into child's pose and you sit with your butt on your heels. And now if this is hard for you to bend forward and keep your butt on your heels, you can also scale this exercise by using a block, or you can also use a book or whatever you have at home and put it between your butt and your heels. And this will make the whole exercise easier for you. Because how it looks is you put your forehead on the ground and you lift up your arms. Try and keep your elbows straight, and this is very hard, very, very hard. But it isolates the muscles that open your shoulders. And so even if you don't lift your arms, you're still working the muscles that are opening without compensating with any other muscles in your body. So this makes it easier and this makes it harder. So do about 5 repetitions of these and try to hold like 2 seconds when you lift up your arms. Now I'm going to show you another exercise, because when you are in a handstand, so the position of the shoulder, it's not only going straight up. The shoulders have to stabilize themselves in position. So you have a slight external rotation. It's like a torque. So the way you can imagine this is when you're standing on your feet, and the hips are the equivalent of the shoulders in the handstand. The way the legs stabilize themselves and keep this straight axis is by glute tension. So when you tense your glutes, you'll notice that your legs will rotate outward slightly. And this creates stability. Now, in order to not flop to the side, your feet are turning the opposite direction. Because if I tense my glutes and I don't engage the feet in the opposite direction, that's how it's going to go. So in order to create this stability, the feet go in the opposite direction. So you have like a counter movement. The hips stabilize here, the legs, the feet stabilize in the other direction, and you create this torque, which creates a stable structure. And so this is the same thing for the shoulders and your hands. So in the push, you have a slight external rotation, and then the ball of your pointer finger points in the opposite. And this creates the same torque that you basically have in your hips. Because a handstand is the same thing as standing on your feet, only that the shoulders have to take the role of the hips and be the solid basis. So in order to activate this, there's an exercise where you can just put your hands on the wall and you go into an extension. So shoulder flexion is actually the opening of the shoulder. So you go into a shoulder flexion and you try to mimic the handstand position. So you pull your chest away and out, and now you try to create this external rotation, pushing the wall away. So you can really feel this torque. You turn outward, and here you turn inward. And it's good to film yourself when you do that, because when you film yourself, you can check your alignment, see if your shoulders are really open and aligned with your upper body. And it's just good to get the habit of analyzing yourself. So you can hold that position for like 30 seconds just for your body to get used to it, to get the feeling of it. All right. Now, so the drills that we did at the wall for the handstand, those are the ones that are going to teach you how to balance. Everything we did until now is warm-up and is great for preparation, but it's not going to teach you how to do the handstand. In order to learn how to balance, you have to spend time on your hands, because that's how the neural pathways are formed, and your body will learn how to essentially articulate the movements to keep you in the center. So what we did was we just spent 30 seconds facing the wall. So just this. And now think of everything that we did. So you want to externally rotate, push, and you want to keep contact with the fingers on the ground. And then just spending time here, 30 seconds to warm up your body is already enough. So this is what we did for warm-up. Now that I know the group, we might actually do some more we might include the warm-up too, but this is going to be an important part of the session. Okay, now basic drills for balance. Essentially, when we learn how to balance, all we need to learn is how to keep the body in place and then control the overbalance and the underbalance. So when you overbalance, overbalancing means that you're falling this way, so you're falling away, and when you press your fingers, you bring yourself back to center. Underbalance means you fall this way, press your heels, and you regain. Come back to the middle. So, in order to practice this, we can use the wall. This is, by the way, this is pretty exhausting and pretty advanced to control where you fall and bring yourself back. It takes all the muscles in your wrists and in your shoulders, and it takes a degree of awareness of where you are in space, which we are just developing now. We're at the start of it. So the way we develop it is by doing this against the wall. So, overbalance. Pick up. And now, you can see when I hang at the wall, I am in overbalance. If the wall wasn't there, I would fall that way. So what I do is I stiffen my body, I push my shoulders, I press the fingers into the ground. And that way you can shift your entire body weight away from the wall. So you press away from the wall and relax. And you do this once and you rest. If you can, you do it twice. If you can, you do it 3 times. So it depends on where you are. But the essential thing is for you to get the feeling. The feeling of how the weight transfers when your fingers press into the ground. Because we want to build this connection. And we want to build the connection from pressing here and the whole body reacts. And then we're going to do the same thing the opposite way around, but we said we're going to take a step back. And the rest of it we'll do in the following sessions. So this is just a summary of what we did. Another thing that I almost forgot. So when you are taking a break from your handstands, it's good to make it a habit. You don't have to push yourself to do this. So if this is very hard for you and also takes energy, don't push yourself. Then it's better to just rest. But if you have the capacity, make it a habit to rest in your straddle or in your pancake, because the more accustomed you get to this position, the easier this becomes, and it eventually is just a resting position. You will see huge progress in your flexibility. This is really the biggest life hack that I discovered when we were in Kiev at the circus school. They always rest in splits. And they told us, when you're taking a break, go into your split. And so it doesn't mean that you're pushing and stretching. It just means you find a position where you can comfortably sit. And so for me, this is resting. For a lot of people, it looks like, oh, you're stretching and you're in a pancake or a middle split. This is not hard anymore because the body just gets used to it. So I think that's all we did today. Oh, tuck. All right. So I completely forgot about the tuck. We did tuck, and tuck is the most important exercise by far. It's one of the hardest, but it also depends on your shoulder structure. For some people, it's very easy to bring their knees down towards the chest. And so for me, for example, it was very hard. Tuck was always one of the hardest exercises because I had limited shoulder flexibility. My lats were always restricting me. And so when you lower your knees, I'm going to show you what the tuck is. So when you lower your knees, not only have my shoulders, they have to push harder, and my upper back has to resist the weight, but also I have to slightly work more towards opening. So it's several things. It's the weight is increased in your front line because your legs in front of your body, they weigh a lot, and so your upper back has to compensate and has to be really, really active and strong. So that's one thing. And then because of this additional weight, your shoulders have to push to resist gravity. And then the third thing is, because your knees are bending, your lat muscle, the muscle that is attached all the way from here to your lower back, is stretched on. When my knees go towards the chest, this muscle is put under stress. And so if you are restricted in your shoulder mobility, in the tuck, it's going to be worse because those muscles are so under stress. So developing a good solid tuck is going to give you a good shoulder basis for handstands, just in order to stand stable and have like this, you know how the hips are strong and you can stand stably and your upper body just floats on top of your hips when you stand. That's what the tuck is going to give you in terms of the shoulders. Your shoulders are going to be strong. The rest of your body will be able to float on top of the shoulder bases. So that's one thing. The second thing is it's going to help you immensely towards building a beautiful handstand line, because it's going to help you develop this strength of push, keeping the chest in, and it's just going to help you look pretty. And the third thing is it's going to help you develop a press. If you have a good tuck, that's the first step towards developing a good handstand press. So we will keep working on that. After today's session, I saw that there's a lot of work we need to do. And so we will take the time to develop a good tuck. But my important message is here that the tuck is just the most important exercise. And if you understand that, then we have already won a lot, because then it's just about putting in the work and we will scale it down. So I think I got everything. If you have any questions, or if anything is unclear, or if anything starts hurting, please let me know. Send me an email, and yeah, we'll work around it and see what we can do in terms of that. Yeah, that's all. I'm so glad to have you as a member, and this is really exciting, and I love it, and I'll see you soon.